Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone,
We're evening, kind of.
or evening for
Yeah,
some of
evening.
us. Good
Mm,
afternoon. We're here at Cocktails and Crimes, and this week we are going to go into a part two. And I can't even say that I'm excited to do this show. This show is making me angry. Like this person pisses me off. So
this
tonight is
is
going to be part
true.
two of the Summer Wells case, and we're going to talk about Don Wells, the prime suspect in the disappearance of his 5-year-old daughter. Number one, he's prime suspect. TBI isn't fucking stupid. Number two, this
Mm,
guy's a trash bag human. And if you're offended because I'm going to call it what it is, then this isn't the show for you. We're
right.
not nice
Get
over
out of
here.
here.
We're
Yeah.
fucking honest. There's a difference.
Hmm.
But just like every week, guess what we have? A cocktail.
Yes. Drink.
And tonight's cocktail of choice to be featured will be simple. Some people call it a Sailor Jerry. That's what we call it. Mine is a diet Sailor Jerry because I don't drink regular Coke.
Me
But
neither.
and I made a like quadruple, so don't judge me.
I hear
But
that they
it's
call those skinny drinks when you drink it with diet. That's I
is
drink it
it?
with diet soda
I
too.
drink it with
So
diet, so I don't know.
mm,
This I've always drank Diet Coke, but
me
this
too.
is 1 part spice rum of your choice, 2 parts of your soda, pour it over ice, mix, and sip.
Yep.
And it's like my favorite. I love a good rum and Coke. I
Oh
always
yes.
have.
Yes. Yes.
However, and I'm gonna need like probably 12 more of those for this
Yeah, you
episode
do
tonight.
because we got to deal with this guy tonight.
I can't even tell you
Yeah.
how much I can't stand this guy. This
Yeah.
right here, this picture, this is Don Wells. Okay, Don Wells was born in Utah, November 11th, 1964. This man has a 40-year consecutive criminal history. The dude is just a piece of shit. All right, like the whole family. I'm not even gonna lie. This
Well,
whole
yeah.
family pisses me off, makes me angry. So last show we covered the disappearance of Summer Wells. She's from Rogersville, Tennessee. She's been missing since June 15th, 2021, from her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek area of Hawkins County, Tennessee. Summer is still missing. There is an active Amber Alert for her to this day. She would now be 7 years old as of February 4th, 2023. Um,
Yeah.
and if you have any information,
She's
there's
so sweet,
Summer.
little baby.
Beautiful,
Sweet.
like just precious little girl.
Yeah.
Um, but you know what? We're going to give Summer a little piece of justice in some way. We're going to do our best. Um,
Mm,
and that's why I felt like it was really important to do a whole episode on Don Wells, this trash bag. Um,
literally.
he's a fucking
One
dumpster
more one
fire.
more photo of Summer there. That's a great one of her.
Oh, she's just beautiful. She was the
Mhm.
prettiest little
Mhm.
girl. Um, and like, I'm just gonna follow this by saying, believe me, TBI is not fucking stupid. Okay, anything that this dude is pumping out of his fucking mouth, they know is bullshit, right? Um, but we're just letting this oxygen waste of oxygen dig us on hold. So Don Wells has this consecutive 40-year history, right? Criminal history, and it goes over multiple states. You have Utah, Florida, Texas, Arkansas, and Tennessee. Like this, he's actually, I think, just got out of prison, like a couple of months ago, and now he has to like. So him and Candace left Tennessee. There are 11 acres that they stole, by the way. Yeah. So
Whoa,
here,
they
yeah,
stole 11 acres?
yes, they swindled this 11 acres out of Don's family. I did some digging. Don pretty much moved to Tennessee to help take care of, like, I guess it was his mom.
Mhm.
And this was actually like her, like his family property. And he pretty much took it over and like stole the 11 acres and then started building this house or whatever. That once again, we've seen pictures of
Oh,
that
let's take a
dungeon.
quick fan break
Mm.
here. We got Pam.
Hey, Pam.
Mm,
Her. Um, so not only does this man have, and not only does he have this criminal history, his family history is enough to like make your fucking skin crawl, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you want to start with that about
I would love to start with his family
yeah.
family
I think that's the
history.
best way to lead into Don himself. So,
Oh, and now let's go ahead and say though, not only does he have this 40-year criminal history, but he has been convicted of it's violent felonies. He served prison
mm,
time for convictions involving drugs and burglaries in Arkansas, Utah, and Texas,
oh, look
early
at
90s,
one of our biggest fans
2000s.
here. One of our biggest fans.
He's
Hi.
cute. He's cute.
Isn't
I would let
he?
him take
He's
me
a
on a
cutie.
date. I'd let him take me out. He
Right.
was cited for numerous parole violations from the 90s and 2000s, from Utah to Arkansas to Texas. Um, and then he was charged with attempted aggravated assault, interfering with a public servant, forgery, burglary of a dwelling, and theft in multiple states. This isn't just one state. Like, he has multiple charges in multiple states.
Right.
And then we're going to get into the family. So, like, while we're doing our stuff and you're looking into things and I'm looking into things and we're going down
Mm,
these crazy rabbit holes,
oh my
I
gosh.
want to
Yeah.
preface before we get into this next part. I should have said it in the beginning. Huge trigger warning here. Um, Mainly because this is going to include SA, trafficking, incest, child SA, like just so many atrocities. I can't even list them in like one breath.
Right.
Um, but like child abuse is actually a huge thing in not only Don but also Candace Wells' past.
Yep.
And like, what did you find? Okay, so like, what did you find when you were digging? Because I know you
As
found some good stuff.
far as his family, I didn't get that far, but I did find a lot about his past. So, personally, his past, and just a lot of the creepy, weird stuff he's done. I mean, did you get into the family or
Oh
not
yeah.
too much?
Okay,
Okay.
so apparently this is like a bloodline thing of shit. Like this whole bloodline. So apparently Don's father was molesting, essaying Don's sisters.
Mm, I think,
And
yeah.
so he moves out of the house with stepmom and dad and moves in with mom and stepdad. But what does Don do when he moves in with the mom and stepdad? Starts doing exactly what his dad was doing. He starts essaying his stepsister. And this went on for 7 years. It started when his stepsister was 5, and it went on for 7 years. He started doing this to her when he was 12 years old. 12.
Mm, yep.
So, and he actually says that I can't like he believes that him and his 5-year-old stepsister were actually in a relationship,
Oh my God.
and like it actually like he still has this warped idea that they were in a relationship.
That's
Um
so Don Wells believed that? That's
yes, he believed that him
insane.
because the day after Summer went missing, literally the day after Summer goes missing, it's all over the news. Don's
Mhm.
stepsister Jeannie calls law enforcement and reported all the stuff that Don had done to her when she was 5 years old. When
I
it started
do
when she was
remember that
5.
now. Yeah, I do remember
And
that now.
then yeah, so like I actually listened to her interview, and I'm not gonna lie, I had to like walk away and like take a breather
Yeah, there was it
so
a
many
lot of
times.
this is so heavy, like you were saying, the whole trail through the family, the essay, all the nastiness that was going on. For us to like backtrack and listen, it's heavy, it's overwhelming. Like
It is. And
you have
like,
to stop and walk away a lot of times.
oh yeah, I had to take so many stops and just be like, oh my God. So yesterday, I went to our good friend and our good friend of mine. Huge shout out to one of our famous, like awesome sponsors, House of Pain
Oh
Tattoo,
yeah, that's
Frankie
right.
Bones.
Yes.
I think you have some
I do. Let me grab
pictures.
a photo of him or of the shop.
Yes.
That'll
Um,
take me a minute, but I'll get it up here in a
yeah.
minute.
So that's I actually went and spent the day at the tattoo shop getting, like, not even kidding, actual just ink therapy from the stress. And like it's so crazy because like Frank and I are really good friends. His wife Mandy, we're all really good friends. Mandy's actually my family. And it's so crazy because like I've never had a case just drive me to the point where I was like, I don't care what you put
Oh,
on me. Just
right?
I
It
just
just
need a break, you know.
yeah, I
Um
totally get it. Um, it's a
but like
lot, like I said, it's huge. Um,
what's
and
so
I think any case that you talk about is, you know, it's major. But this one involved not just one possible, you know, missing child, but multiple missing people. Like we'll talk about that later on. Somebody else is missing.
uh yeah.
Um, we're not going to go there now. There's also multiple like essays everywhere. Like everybody's touching each other, everybody's doing things that are inappropriate to each other, and it's just
And they
all over the
talk
place.
shit about the South. It started in
Right?
fucking
I know.
Utah. Like,
Right?
I'm just saying, it's not exactly the
Mhm,
South. But here's what's so crazy. So after Jeannie exposes what happened and what
mhm.
um Don did to her for, these 7 years of her life, like he literally took her innocence, 7
Absolutely.
years. He started doing this to her when he was 12 years old. And he doesn't deny it. Okay. But his view or his words is that they were in a relationship and that she, at 5 years old, initiated this sexual relationship with him.
Disgusting.
And
Mm-mm.
so, going back to when he's talking about um, in his interview about Summer and the morning of, so like this
Mhm.
just absolutely kind of like disgusted me because he says, um, "Oh, me and Summer had such a great love for each other," and he says how Summer was in the bed between him and Candace the
Mhm.
morning of, and he says, "Oh, she's crying," and she says, "But Daddy, I want to sleep with you. Um, I don't want to, whatever." I did he misconstrue or like is he construing this like I
It's a
feel
very good
like
possibility. It seems like they're both kind of slow, you know what I mean? Like they're not so
oh,
maybe he
honey,
has
Candace
some
is
kind of
slower than
a oh
molasses.
yeah. Maybe he has you know, literally that belief. Like if there's a mental illness there, maybe he believes he's in a relationship with a child. Maybe there
Well,
was
I mean,
more to the story
that
there.
was that was absolutely his belief during, this
Yeah.
crazy
Mhm.
discovery. Um,
Right.
and he's like, talking about how, oh, I didn't want to leave your side, how she was such a daddy's girl and always slept with him. And but now remember, Don, we're going to step back now. Don was incarcerated when he was 19 years old, around 18, 19. Um,
Right.
and then from there on, it's just been prison stint after prison stint,
Mhm.
multiple charges. The burglary. So it started in Utah, and from what I could dig up, because I filed a public records request, and I'm still waiting on some of them.
Yeah.
But from what I could get from Utah, it started out with violent offenses. He burglarized a home, um, and I want to say it was armed robbery as well, was what they told me and
I
what they
think I
sent
read that.
me. And then, um, of course, this guy admits that he's got a long term meth addiction.
Well, there was also that weird situation where he stole undergarments from someone.
Oh yeah, that was
That
in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
part
That
of his long
Candy,
criminal
yes, Candy Sue Turner. That one stood out to me for so many reasons. Um, but I really want to note on this as well that a part of me has an issue here because, like, during the research that I've done, okay, into these less than upstanding individuals, child abuse being historic in their past both sides family, but extreme domestic violence on both sides as well. Um, drugs, alcohol abuse, and then this family is like first name basis with Child Protective Services. Like CPS knows
Mm.
these people on like a personal level.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
I
remember the house. I
oh
mean, the last episode we showed the
well,
inside of the
yeah,
house. So,
the
yeah.
house looks like a fucking dungeon. And
Right.
I've actually found out the house was like 700 square feet, and I found detail of like the layout and like that bar area where we were like, oh god,
What is
that
this?
literally, it's actually the stairs that go down to the playroom
Oh,
that they call the
wow.
playroom. It's a fucking dungeon because that's where I would let my kid go play.
Mm,
Yeah,
nope. Not in a
no,
million years, but yeah, and then the outside of the house, I mean, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
but
can
they were
imagine
planting
why
flowers.
CPS.
But they were planting
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
flowers.
Because that's a
Well,
place you would plant flowers, you know?
yeah, it looks like they were really on that.
Yeah.
And I actually have. So we were talking about the incident in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Now I got
Mhm.
this. I pulled some strings and I got this handy dandy information right here.
Is that
I'm gonna read it to you.
this one?
Yes.
There
This
you
is the
go.
actual statement
Mm.
from the detective who gets called to the scene of Candy Sue Turner's house in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Okay. And he says that for due to Wells' demeanor and the fact that he kept sticking his hands in his pockets, Officer Linda Burry obtained
Mm.
consent to search Wells' pockets. During the consent search, um, the officer located a pair of red panties in Wells' right front pants pocket. Wells initially advised that the panties were from his wife, who resides at West End, but then corrected himself, stating they were his girlfriend's. Wells stated that he was also picking up items that had been stored in this shed. Wells said that Beatty did not know that he was storing things in the shed and did not want her to find out. Officer Lindaberry began looking around the area inside the garage for items that appeared to be out of place. And she located an open laundry room, which contained several lingerie items. Officer Lindaberry advised me that when he discovered what he had discovered in the garage, at which time I advised Wells of his Miranda rights. Wells advised that he understood his rights and agreed to speak with me without an attorney present. During the interview, Wells admitted that he entered the garage and took the panties from the laundry room, and he was going to use those to, I'm sure you can figure it out, at a later time. He denied
Yeah.
having any sexual contact with himself or anyone else at the residence while waiting on Johnny. Now, this man broke into a random woman's house to steal her underwear.
And just so the viewers know, this all is prior to Summerwell's
Yeah,
disappearing. So
this is all part of his
th
40-year history.
yeah, this guy has this long record of, I don't know, I guess,
Atrocities.
sex offenses.
Yeah.
So makes you wonder if
But I just,
something else
how
is
did
going on.
this Candace, he's got a thing for candy, man.
Yeah, something, because that's too coincidental. I mean, really? I don't know. I'd be
Oh,
curious to see what she looks like, but I actually never found,
I could not find a
photos.
picture of her at all.
But I
And I
guess if
looked,
I were her, I wouldn't wanna be on the internet either. It'd be hidden somewhere.
right?
Mhm.
Especially for that. Like,
Yeah.
and then, so I diving even further, I get to Pamela Wells, which is Don's ex wife.
Mm.
Now,
Yeah.
I found some interesting shit there, but what's even more interesting to me is there are, and this isn't confirmed, this is things that
Mhm.
I found
Right.
that were leading up to Don possibly being married to both of them. And this is something that I've heard through the grapevine. The TBI is actually investigating, was he ever actually divorced from Pamela Wells? It's a good
Oh,
question.
interesting. Very interesting.
Yes, I have a friend who got me some information. And
Mm.
there's that's part of like what they're looking at. Was he ever actually divorced from Pamela Wells? But
Hmm.
Pamela Wells did an interview and discussed some of her marriage to Don Wells and the abuse that she suffered at his hands. But he tried to sell their fucking child.
Right. I don't think she ever fully recovered from that situation.
Would
I
you?
No, no. I found a picture of her. I mean, it's a more current picture of like now. She doesn't look good at all. So here you go. At this
Yeah,
time,
she's actually going to jail herself.
yeah, she had an active warrant out for her arrest for a
Yeah.
while. Hmm.
So it doesn't seem like any of these people that get together, none of them are batting the
The
none of them
whole
are batting
mess.
a
They just need to
thousand.
stay away from each other. Um, something I was raised with was the statement, "Birds of a feather flock together."
But now
So,
Don says in an interview, I found God in prison. That's what he tells
okay.
now. And I
I don't know.
started studying the Bible and I wanted to change.
I
But
mean,
then he gets arrested again. Now his Texas offensive are like all of the stuff in Texas are violent offenses. Breaking and entering, touching, or stealing another set of undergarments from a
mm-mm.
hotel room with somebody that let him stay there. Um, I mean, this man obviously, I don't know if he wants to wear them or what, but he really likes
Well, it was,
something.
he wanted to pleasure himself with them is what I
Oh, he
read.
did. That's what he
That's
said.
what I read, yep. At a later time, needed a little privacy, I guess.
But then he's arrested again. So all like we've got 40 years of all these things, right? And his offenses in Florida, same breaking and entering into a single woman's domicile, theft, drug charges. But he also had a ton of domestics when he was with Pamela. So
Mhm.
clearly, they spent a lot of time arresting him for abuse of his wife and his children. Um, what I
No.
did find or did get in
Mhm.
my records request was that CPS had removed his first children, right, that he had with Pamela. They were actually removed from the home and replaced into the foster system for quite a while. And uh, basically, one of their family friends, like, pretty much was like, hey, sign these papers, let me have the kids, go away, just go away.
Mm.
And they, like, apparently Pamela wanted to kind of keep in touch, and they were like, no, we don't want either one of you to have anything to do with these kids ever again. Sign the papers, go away. And so Pamela refused, but Don was willing to sign them. But so they actually, I found an interview or in some of the documents that I got back in my records request, someone actually gave a statement to the police about this man walking around trying to sell his child. And it
Oh
was
my
Don
god.
Wells, and he ID'd Don Wells. So this isn't just Pam saying, hey, he tried to sell our kids. There were eyewitnesses that went to people and was like, hey, like this guy was like trying to peddle his kid for dope
Right?
money. Like, and he had two children. The first thing I read was that he actually tried to sell both of them, but no, he was just trying to sell one. You had to have one for backup when
No.
money ran out.
Right? Have to have a backup. Now, I'd be curious, was the child male or female that he was trying to sell?
Male, male.
Weird. That's kind of was trying to go along the lines of, female trafficking, but maybe that's crazy. I mean, I guess there's some freaks out there that would take
But
males
here's the
too.
thing, though. This was back before you had like internet and
Mhm.
like he was physically walking through. I guess like what y'all have in California, like LA area, like Tent City,
Oh yeah,
Skid
homeless
Row,
areas. Yeah.
like Skid Row.
I
He
was
was
there
walking through
today.
kind of
Yeah.
an area like that, being
Mhm.
like, "Do you want to buy my kid?
Mm-mm.
Like, do you want to
Crazy.
buy this child? Like, I'm selling my
That's
kid."
crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
And somebody actually did give a sworn statement about it and was like, "Dude, this guy's like trying to sell his kids,"
All
and
right,
that's
let's
kind of so. Like, then they find out. That's how Pamela initially found out
mhm.
that he was taking the kids in the middle of the night and trying to sell them. Thankfully, nobody
Let's
bought them.
that's this is heavy and dark. So let's take a quick fan break and your sponsor break. So Let's see. He said just the bad one was for sale.
I guess
Maybe you never know. Maybe the good one he saved just in case.
maybe.
So what Nikki was talking about earlier is her therapy is her tattoos, and they are done by the House of Pain.
House of Pain, Frankie Bones.
Yep. There's his phone number. You guys, if you're in the area, you can give him a call.
He does wonderful work, all custom, and he would love to hurt you. He tells people he thinks people he gets paid to hurt people.
Yeah,
So
that's a great job.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Hmm. All right. So moving on, there's
But
another.
then
Oh, go ahead.
oh go ahead.
There's another piece of Donwell's family that's interesting. So we talk about how it kind of passed down in generation, and it appears that Dawn passed it along to. Go ahead, tell him.
Passed it on along to the son. His son is so that's Don Wells. That's
The
uh
junior.
yeah. So I had to work to get this. But
Yeah.
guess what? That's actual Don.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's
So
the dad.
sorry. Here it
There
is.
you go. There's Donald Wesley Wells, like the third or fourth or however many there
Yeah,
are.
something like that.
Guess what he is incarcerated for?
You can
Right
see it
there.
right here, guys, on the bottom of the picture.
He is
Sexual
a registered
indecency.
sex offender who, by the way, just went back to jail for failing to register as a sex offender. This shit runs in their blood.
Hmm.
Like I'm telling you.
And we've had so many discussions about this is sexual indecency with a child is this charge, and we've wondered, was he around Summer at that time? Was he anywhere near her?
That's what I want to know. I want to know if he was around Summer or what his relationship was with Summer, because and like Don's been
Oh,
asked about it, and
you got somebody on the screen there.
I didn't see your car. I would have.
And then you have one more. He is kind of a goofy looking critter, huh?
They
We
look
thought so
they
too.
look slow.
Right. I mean,
But no, he was actually asked about his son, and he will like evade the questions. He does, well, I guess you don't want to talk about it when your son's as big a piece of shit as you.
right.
That apple
I
didn't
also
fall
think,
far from the tree.
right. I feel like at this point, 100%, he's not going to talk about it because, I mean, with the disappearance of Summer, he might let out something that incriminates him or his son. And yeah, he's not going to speak on this at this point. Don Wells is slow, but I think he's a criminal, and criminals know how to navigate through the criminal world. They know what to not say. So,
Well, okay. So with that being said, right? Remember, he doesn't want to speak on this. He's been asked numerous times in multiple interviews about his, criminal history or whatever, his being such a grandiose human being.
yeah.
And clearly we all know that, well, he's not. But he always kind of evades and he's like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. And, it's not important. It kind of is. But then let's speed up. We've talked about he's got Texas, Arkansas, Florida, Utah, Tennessee, 5 states, 40 years. But guess what? Summer goes missing, right? In 2021. Okay. October of 2020, Don Wells was arrested for what? Domestic assault, DUI, and felon in possession of a firearm. And Candace, Lord knows, we have that handwritten, her statement, which is handwritten, which you need like, I don't know, redneck Rosetta Stone to decipher what it says.
Redneck Rosetta Stone. Yeah, I know. He drinks and throws things. Is that the right one? Yeah.
Yeah, that's I
Yeah.
don't I tried to read it and I was just I can't,
Am
like
am afraid of being hurt.
yeah,
He is abusive, well, physically is what I'm assuming it means, but it's really fiscally and
fiscally.
mentally toward me. I mean, I'm not really making fun of her, but I kind of am. I mean, I
At
guess in
this
a
point,
sense,
I
what
just
it
don't even
is,
care.
it's just an indication of like complete ignorance, extremely low education, so
Yeah,
kind of shows you where the
absolutely.
mindset is, where these people are scrambling, and I guess for lack of better words, like roaches. You see a roach in your kitchen at night, and it's panicking, like, oh shit, what do I do? And it's
Exactly.
darting and dodging, and it's trying to do anything it can to get away. And I feel like that's what these guys are doing, including, and we won't get into this one too much because I think it'll go better with her show, but I just want to throw this in there, like, again, a roach scrambling, trying every tactic. These guys go on to Dr. Phil even.
Oh my
And
god.
yeah,
They
we're not
did.
gonna get too much into that because that's a whole Candace moment, okay?
That
But
was I have no words for that moment.
no, real quick, I want to dissect this picture. Talking about this long-term history criminal and violent
Dissect
person.
away.
Look at how he's, oh baby, it's okay. Yeah, right. Come on now. I mean,
It makes me sick.
it's all for show, literally, because
It is.
the proof is there. 40-year criminal, like abusive, violence, all these things. I mean, come on now. And all of a sudden, look at, they're the happy couple. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I don't buy it.
You want me to believe that? And it's good to note she actually walked out of that interview when they were like
Mhm.
getting on her case, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what.
And
Oh, no, somebody said, window lickers.
uh,
They may
bless
have. I
those
mean, they might have.
windows.
Um,
Bless
so,
those windows.
yeah, maybe while the Windex was still wet.
Uh, maybe. That's the problem. They ate some fucking Tide
So,
Pods.
they might have. So she actually had, walked out of that interview. Her statement was
Yeah.
that, how do I put it? That she, um, what is it? I'm trying to put it in the right words. Um, she wasn't going to be hounded by media or anybody making her feel like pressured to talk about things.
Well,
I
why would
can't
you not
remember the
want to talk
exact words,
about
but
your child
so
that's
here's
missing?
somebody's comment. Why is she crying for? She didn't deserve her, and she knows exactly what happened to her. We both agree with you,
Oh, 100%,
Pam.
ma'am. 100%.
But why she was crying is because when Dr. Phil, of course, we know Dr. Phil, he's asking the questions, he's saying, what the hell's going on here? And she's feeling pressured. And she had said, she didn't want to go to that show. She didn't want to
No,
go anywhere. But when she
that was a
did,
Don Wells decision, by the way.
I think
She's his
all of it is
puppet.
a Don Wells
She's a
thing.
puppet. She's a
Yeah,
fucking puppet.
absolutely.
I know
Um,
that she knows what happened to that child. But I'm gonna tell you what, and I firmly believe this. I do not believe that they ever went to a fucking swimming hole with grandma's bum knee and shit.
mm-mm.
I really think they need to look at the 2 days prior when it stated that Don is like despondent and it looks like he's lost his best friend and the way he was acting at work. And I went, like I said, it's a rabbit hole. And you know me, we've done this before. I end up
Yeah.
on these crazy rabbit holes that make me like insane. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. I believe there are multiple things to look at. One of the things that I believe, because let's be real, Don has done got a history of trying to sell some children. Um, I'm not so sure because, and I'm going to tell you why. I know that there's a picture and I want to show this, but I'm going to preface this picture by saying I am not 100% sure this is what happened, but with everything that has happened in the realm of people being taken and put into the slave
Trafficking
trade and
and right.
trafficking
Mhm.
and the way that, like, especially right now in the media, like the Wayfair scandal, you
Oh
know,
god,
and
yeah, that
all
was
the things
yeah,
that
what
have happened.
is that, code words and stuff, and that's where
Yeah,
we're heading next with
I
the picture. Yeah.
I found this
Mhm.
to be odd. I was watching a video and I went, "What the fuck is that?" And I kept pausing it. And you have the picture. We're gonna put it up, and I'm gonna tell you why this struck a fucking nerve with me. Look on this barrel right here. Who the absolute fuck paints for sale on a barrel in their backyard? And
Now,
why
mind
is your
you,
child in this
yeah,
video dancing by this barrel and being drawn to, like, it's an attention on, notice the camera's never centered on Summer.
right, not only
It's
that, what
focusing on the spirit. And in the video it's the same
mhm.
way.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is the video itself is bizarre. It's almost like, I don't know, like an advertisement, a dancing wet child, like, here for
It,
sale, like
it's
it almost, if you'd have to be really dumb not to pay him, look at that and think, hey, something's wrong there. To me, it looks like like a commercial for a
for,
product, and Summer
but
being the
now
product.
the stepping even further into, once again, this rabbit hole.
Mm.
I did some digging and I listened and read so many transcripts, right?
Oop, yeah.
On December 28th, a creator that Don Wells himself reached out to, which is fucking weird, uh,
Mm.
actually released a phone call that she had with Donald Wells on November 13th of 2021. Now, she released this phone call on the 28th of December, okay? And I listened to the whole thing and was like, yeah, whatever, until we get to certain key parts. And at 2 hours and 53 minutes and 26 seconds, now, mind you, Don uses foul language throughout the whole thing. So do I. So whatever.
Yeah, but
Um, Don Wells states that the TBI and the FBI accused him of selling his daughter for dope. So he took $2,000 from the bank account, went to Knoxville, and bought $2,000 worth of fucking shit, his words.
oh,
And I'm going to read his. So I pulled a transcript off of it, right? And he says,
let me see if
I
I do
fucking
have it.
gave dope away all night for 2 days.
No, that's
I
fine.
had 5 or 6 agents following me for 2 days. Then I got on the freeway and went home. They was on the freeway with me and I outran them all except for one car. I showed them I don't need to sell my fucking daughter to buy dope. I got plenty money in my bank account.
Mm-mm.
Those are his words.
Oh,
And
I believe you.
so he makes, to me, there are 5 interesting admissions in this one statement. Number one, he's being followed by law enforcement agents. They're waiting on you to slip up, dude.
Of
Okay.
course. And
Secondly, that he attempted to lose law enforcement, so he tried to run from them. That's felony fleeing,
right.
by the way, and
Yeah,
evasion.
right.
And third, he withdrew $2,000 from his bank account. Fourth, he drove all the way to Knoxville and spent 2 days there. So to me, this is what I gather. The fifth admission is that TBI and FBI were already accusing him of selling Summer for drugs. This whole bizarre road trip to Knoxville with this accusation
Yeah,
from
it's strange.
TBI. But if law enforcement was already following him, which isn't really too hard for me to believe, um,
True.
it's fair to say that his behavior would be viewed as extremely suspicious. And that's my thought. Um, because why would you go to Knoxville? Like, all did you owe somebody $2,000 and you thought maybe you could get Summer back?
Very possible. I wonder. That's a good point. because
You would
he
need a
feels that.
rational, and in his mind, he would need a rational explanation of why he withdrew $2,000 and went to fucking Knoxville. Well, he what if he had to pay someone off?
Right? And
Like,
if he
a
sold
dope
her,
boy.
those people don't care. Anyone that buys a child is the lowest form of scum. They don't care if you go to jail. They don't care anything about you. All they wanted was your child. So, I
Exactly.
mean, and we all know they didn't purchase this child so they could raise it and love it and nurture it. I mean, we all know what's going on here. So, I mean, I think that maybe he thought maybe he's done this before with possessions. I don't know. Where he thought, hey, I'll give you my kid for a minute. And then when I pay you up, you'll give her back. But like I said, anybody that works on a deal like that, they're never giving your kid back, not even for $1 million.
No,
They're going
this is a done deal. But this is also the same guy who has made it known that he was struggling to pay his $600 car note for a vehicle that
right.
he bought for Candace. So you're struggling to pay your $600 car note, but you withdraw
Yeah.
2,000 to go buy meth to just give away in Knoxville like you're the goddamn Santa Claus of methamphetamines?
He's the meth
The
fairy.
fuck?
The meth fairy.
You're telling me that this shit makes sense? Great, got it.
Mm-mm.
Now nobody actually knows. I couldn't determine an actual date of this 2-day meth trip. I couldn't determine the actual date. He says that, and this interview was done in November of 2021. So this had to be between the time Summer went missing and November of 2020, or November. So June and November. But I couldn't find an exact narrowed down date. But this is a true story. This came from Don's mouth. But I'm thinking he needs an excuse. Now, do you honestly think that FBI and TBI don't know how much fucking money's in your bank account, dude?
Mm.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? Really? All righty
Yeah,
then.
right.
You're a fucking genius, but all right. Um,
Right.
Now, the thing is, though, is he randomly inserts into the interview certain parts that seem to say that he's making he's already given a preemptive excuse
Mhm.
for shit. That's pre-questioning, Oh, I've already given these answers in an interview that I did prior. So when you ask these questions,
Right.
it just that's the feel that I get when I was listening to it, and I was like, dude, you're giving details that nobody gives a fuck about at this point. We want to talk about your missing
Yeah.
child. And then he go, okay, these people are constantly putting themselves out there, right? Don West
Mm.
is constantly putting himself out there. Then he goes radio silent. Now they're stonewalling. Don has started stonewalling.
Oh,
TBI,
yeah.
FBI, Hawkins County. They will not speak to authorities, leave Hawkins County, abandon this 11 acres that was such a loving home, you know,
Yeah, no.
it's a clean, loving home. They're living in a crack hotel in Arkansas, by the
Well,
way.
that's their old home. I haven't been able to find a picture of where they're living now, but, I'm gonna keep searching because that would be
They
very
are in
interesting.
they're in a crack motel, and I do actually know what part of Arkansas they're in.
So maybe
It's
we
a
can grab a picture of that for the next
I can't
episode.
yeah, I was gonna say I haven't found one yet, but I'm going to.
We'll work on it. We're too
Bitch,
deep in the rabbit hole.
I know where they are. I will
Yeah.
drive to that part of Arkansas. I know
Yeah.
that area.
We are way
Um,
too deep in the rabbit hole to stop now. So gotta find the pictures.
but
Um,
then Don goes radio silent, doesn't talk to media, nothing for a month. Then he calls this other creator or whatever. And
yeah.
this now he calls this person on the day that this other creator releases this interview, right?
Mm.
And now in the process of all this, there were some remains found in Tennessee. Um, TBI has not disclosed anything on that. Well, they have now, but at the time,
Yeah,
they
but
had
at the
not
time they
disclosed
didn't.
anything.
Right.
And so this other creator in this interview asked him, and at 7 minutes into the interview, about the remains that were found. And he says, "Oh, well, I mean, I've heard about them." And then ask her,
Mm.
"What you find out?" Now, if my
Yeah.
child is fucking missing and I hear that remains are found in the vicinity with,
I'd
in a
be like,
150 fucking
hold this
mile radius,
interview because I gotta go. Yeah, I would be looking,
I would be
wanting to
calling law
know.
enforcement, wanting
Mhm.
information right then. No, no. He
Exactly.
completely blew her off. Just nah, nah.
Well, yeah, because he knows exactly where she's at. So, I mean, he's like, that's not her. Don't worry about it. It's not her. I know where she's. I mean, whether she's dead or alive, he knows where she's
He
at.
knows.
Hmm.
And I'm just gonna say this. We've shown the pictures of the house, okay? We've
Mm,
shown the inside of this
mm.
house.
Yeah, last
And I'm gonna
episode.
tell you
Yeah,
right now, the inside reflects the outside on any person. Um, we've seen that. That's a dungeon. Okay. I don't want
absolutely.
to know what those babies have gone through. But now I did find this, and this is what I found really interesting. So digging further with them living in this motel, they're constantly like panhandling online for money because Don's now been fired from like his job or whatever. He actually gave a statement about that and was like, "Well, y'all have ruined my life." Yada yada yada. No, dude, you ruined your own fucking life because you either
Mm,
sold your child or you fucking killed her, but you know what happened to your child.
and it's so sad. Like he doesn't even pay any mind to his past, thinking like, oh, I was a bad person. Of course, this is why they're looking at me. He's not like, I don't know, maybe a sociopath or psychotic or something. No, where they just don't have any thought of what they're actually doing, like their crimes or no remorse.
And we said in the last show, like how he gave the statement, I always knew in my gut that Summer would be taken or something would happen to
Yeah,
her.
that's such a
Who
twisted
says
statement.
that
Yeah,
about their
no.
child? Um,
Twisted statement.
why would you be like, I just always knew? Like, in what world is a parent like, I know my kid's gonna get kidnapped.
Yeah,
Like,
no. Well, we both know one thing. If our kid's kidnapped, we're going to jail because we're gonna kill that fucker.
I'm
So
gonna
I
smile
mean
in my
that we
mom's
know
eye.
for sure. We know 100% that that's gonna happen. So we'll find him. Can't
But now
guarantee that person's
here's
safety.
here's what's weird to me because this doesn't sit well with me, and I'll tell you why. The Wells have three vehicles.
Hmm.
Okay. One is his work truck, one is grandma's truck, and this brand new Subaru SUV that he supposedly bought for Candace. Okay. Now, Candace's car, the Subaru, brand new, has GPS tracking on it. Starlink. Okay. The morning that Summer supposedly has gone missing, because I can't say she went missing that morning, because you know what? I still think that they should look at 2 days, the 2, 3 days prior. But the morning that Summer goes missing, Don doesn't take his work truck that's already dirty. This man does drywall. He doesn't have a
Yeah.
clean job. He doesn't sit behind a desk. He does
Mm-mm.
drywall. Okay. He takes this brand new shiny Subaru. Okay. Now, it was enough that his boss was like, why why would you take this? Like, this is a brand new car, like for a dirty job.
Mm, right.
And he said, "Well, if I'm paying $600 a month for it, it's just sitting there doing nothing. So Candace doesn't drive it."
It's
But
weird.
this GPS thing strikes in my mind. Right? Follow me.
Hmm.
Candace took his work truck that has no GPS tracker,
Right.
preemptively setting up your alibi.
Hmm.
The
Very
GPS shows that he
interesting.
was at work. we have no idea of where Candace really went because remember
Right. I
their
mean, we have
story
a
is that the
timeline and
because their
all.
story is the FBI deleted their entire wiped their whole
Mhm.
phones past 3 o'clock on. There's just nothing.
Why would they do that? Like,
Well,
why?
because the
You know?
FBI is wiping people's phones for
Oh,
fun.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know. Um,
Sounds
I
right.
don't know, but this whole why would you drive a brand new vehicle to work when you have a work truck that you drive every day? And it's enough and
Yeah.
weird enough that your boss is like, what the fuck? Um, it doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, it makes perfect sense, really.
Well, I
You're
mean,
right. It was absolutely like I said, they might be a little slow, but they're criminals and they know how to cover their tracks.
now and then in
Manipulative
original
criminals.
exactly. And this whole he was gonna go home early that day, but then he decided not to go home
Well, I
early
actually
that
heard
day.
someone when they were breaking that down, they were saying something like he called home and he was like, I think I'm going to go home early. And then she's like, no, no, you should stay at work. And then, like, an hour later, she calls him, like, oh, I can't find the baby,
Yeah.
strange. Like, did you mess up? Did you deviate away from the plan? She was supposed to call you and tell you come home early. And he called her and says, hey, should I come now? Are you ready for me yet?
Is
And
it done or
they know that they know these calls took place because obviously they pulled phone records and whatnot. So they were asking him, why did you call like the first time? She called you and told you she couldn't find Summer, but why did you call her prior to that? And he said, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to come home or not. Like, come home early, leave work early. Which,
see, and I'm like you. I'm like, which one is who deviated away from the plan here?
right? Somebody messed up. One of them
Somebody
messed up.
somebody forgot their lines.
Hmm.
Then he
Literally.
talks about this whole like he's driving home at this breakneck speed, and
Oh, yeah.
it took him 25 minutes instead of 45. I don't care how fast you were driving, unless that thing's got fucking landing gear. You didn't cut 20 minutes off of your drive unless you were
No,
closer than you say.
exactly. And again, I think that they deleted their data on their phone, and they think that the world will believe them when they say the FBI just has it out for us. They deleted
They
it.
do. They just
They
have it
just
out
have it
for
out just for you. So and of course the FBI deleted it prior to even knowing about Summer missing. What?
yeah.
Like, why would they do that? So,
So then he says he didn't. Now, remember in the first interview, he says he went straight home. Remember that.
mhm,
Okay.
right.
But then I found another interview and I listened to it. These people cannot keep their story straight because he says, I went straight home. I went straight in the house. I was calling for her, blah, blah, blah. Then he does another interview and says he passed the house and drove further down on the property on Beach Creek Road. Like he didn't, because Ben Hill Road is where they live, but he drove down to Beach Creek Road
Oh, right. I
and to
remember
a
that.
shed that was at the bottom of the hill. Now, this isn't a hill, this is a fucking mountain. Okay.
Oh,
Like
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a cliff.
Right. So we
And
have a
he
comment
says,
here real quick. Someone messed up.
they did.
They messed up all over the place in this story. Anyway, so down to the shed.
So
I
he
find this part just bewildering. So go ahead.
drives down to, there's the shed at the bottom of the hill behind the house. And I figure this is his words. I quoted them on purpose. I figured they were looking all over the house, so I went to the shed. I don't know if I checked it then or later, but I know I did go in there and look, but I don't know when.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
he was.
this
Yeah.
is also the same shed. Now remember this. This is also the same shed that they were trying to tell the cops not to go in.
Hmm. Yep. So there was definitely something connected to that shed. I don't know. I often wonder, did they put cadaver dogs or the smelling dogs down
They
there?
did. So
Did
they
they?
did have
So
canines
at
come
the
out,
shed.
but I don't remember if they took them to the shed or not
So
because
that would be
this whole
very
shed thing is
yeah.
like. But then if you go straight to this shed, why do? But I don't know if I went in there.
Yeah, I
Why
don't
the
I
fuck did you
remember
go?
him saying that. I don't remember if I went in there. How do you not remember? I mean, I get it during stressful moments when you
This
forget pieces of what's
this
gone on, but
math don't math.
no, it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense.
And then he says that when he arrived, so this is another interview. Fast forward to another one because we can't keep our story straight. He says when he arrived at the shed, he could see his boys at the bottom of the hill. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, you said earlier the boys were in the house,
Right? So now
and
they're
Candace was driving around
mm,
frantically screaming for Candace or for Summer. You
right,
went to
right,
the
yeah.
shed. The boys were in the house. Grandma was, I guess, grandma. And I don't know where the fuck she was because
Who
she ain't
knows?
said. Grandma
Listen,
ain't
she was
said
getting
shit.
around pretty good, even though she had that bum knee, supposedly. So
That
yeah,
bum knee
who knows
though.
what she was doing? Yeah.
And then, but then he says in this interview that he went to his Facebook. Now I'm throwing out why their story just never stays the same. So he says, I went on Messenger with Candace while she was driving her mom's truck
Mhm.
looking for Summer. But then he says, I talked on the phone to Candace all the way home. So did you
Mm-mm.
talk to her via Messenger, which you said you were texting the first time, but then you were on the phone with her the whole way home? But then
Yep.
remember, Candace hung up the phone and threw the phone and went and got the phone to call.
Yeah. um,
What?
yeah, what? Confusion.
What?
Confusion.
Um,
Mm-mm.
but then he says in another interview, this is the third interview that I found. I deliberately went to that shed to look.
Yeah. It
So
just
did you or did you not? Did you see? I don't think you went to the fucking shed.
I don't know. I don't think he did, but I don't know. Maybe the shed's not connected. Maybe he told that story to throw authorities
Well,
off
boy,
into
he's
different
thrown me
directions.
off. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. Sounds like maybe that the shed didn't have anything to do with it, but I don't know. Again, he's saying he went down there maybe to throw the authorities off. I don't know.
but they didn't want. Why would you not want something searched? But then remember, we looked at
Mm,
some pictures, and it's a very grainy picture, and I don't even know if I still have it because I some of these I didn't keep. They were just like I don't know. But
which
there's like
picture?
the one where it looks like new concrete, but it's really grainy.
Oh, yeah, I have to go find that one, but like it's here. Let's see.
Yeah, I know we have it,
Let me find it. Yeah. We talked about it looked like new concrete under there or something, right?
but it was
Is
in
that
the
the one?
shed.
Yeah, it looked like a brand new.
Yeah.
Um, mhm.
Now,
Um,
so he calls Candace and he says, I'm coming home. She says, no, I'm at Walgreens or where the fuck ever with mom. But then he says, well, I had no reason to go home. Nobody was there. Weren't your three boys at home?
you would think, right?
You said that y'all left them at home locked in the house. Why didn't you want to go home and spend
Right.
time with your boys?
Yeah. It's just strange all the way around. The stories that they are conflicting
It
and
just changes so much. There's
mhm,
no like constant with these people. It's
no.
just
Yep. All over the place.
the math don't math. This man, they can't keep what story they tell to who straight.
Mm-mm.
None of their stories align at all. And they've talked about what she was wearing, and then she was in her swimsuit, but she wasn't in her swimsuit.
Oh my God,
Dawn
yeah.
says I was going home, but I wasn't going to go home.
The
Um,
inconsistencies.
you know, it, 3 days after Summer's disappearance, Don gave his first interview.
Mhm.
Three 3 days. Your child's missing for 3 days, and he does his first
That's
media interview. Okay.
that's insane. And remember, grandma doesn't talk about it at all for like a whole, I don't know, 6 months or a year or
Grandma
something.
was radio, but I mean, when you have another
She,
kid missing, I guess I'd be quiet fucking too.
yeah. Are we gonna talk about that? So whose mom is she?
That is
That
Candace's mom, and
okay,
they're
okay.
both named Candace. So you
So
have Candace and Grandis.
maybe we leave that to Candace's show.
But then in Candace's statement and Don's statement, the boys are locked in. Nobody can get out. Did you lock them in from the fucking outside? Because the last time I checked, all the doorknobs in my house,
Well,
you can unlock both
you have
ways.
the double-sided deadbolt type things where you have to use a key on the inside and the outside.
Yeah. So did you
So
lock them in like that? Because if that's the
that's
case,
twisted. Like, why would you do that? Like, what if
why would
there's a
you lock
fire?
children like prisoners? Yeah, exactly. What if there's a fire? What?
Mm-mm. It's awful.
Now, remember, Candace says that she couldn't remember if the basement door was locked, right?
Mm,
But Dawn says, oh, that basement door is never unlocked. Then in another interview says, I think somebody unlocked the basement door.
hmm. I don't know.
What?
Ugh, crazy. Just the discrepancies in all of their stories. It's a story
You
time
know,
with the Wells family. So
it's just, but
I mhm.
I've looked at the whole, I've thought about the whole, okay, her let's just say these people are actually innocent, which I don't believe for
No.
any amount of time. But let's pretend. We're gonna play pretend.
Right.
How the fuck did an abductor get onto a property with 20 fucking stray dogs that were trying to attack the police,
Mm,
but they were just miraculously missing in the time span that Summer went fucking missing?
I agree. Um, I don't know how that with all the dogs, I remember the reporters saying they couldn't get on that property because all these dogs would come barking and chasing them, and I don't know how did a stranger get on that property, but
And I actually found a thing that says that Grandis's camper was only like, and this is the in the police report for the description of the property, which you could see in the picture. Grandma's camper was only about 15 to 20 feet
mm,
from the front door. Because I was like, well, maybe Grandma's camper was farther away than it looked. No, it was
let
definitely
me pull
close.
that picture up here and kind of
Yeah,
get it more definition.
like
Um,
15 to 20 feet.
there you
All
go.
right.
So
I was
there
like,
you go.
maybe this is a little bigger area, but it's not. It's 15
You
to
could
20 feet
tell.
from
You
the
could
front door
totally
to front
see.
door. All
Yeah,
right.
literally front door
So
to front door.
nobody in a 15 or 20 foot should, why does the story change about if you walked her to the house or you didn't? And why would you walk 15 feet? Hmm? You didn't.
Mm,
You didn't feed her all day. We've yet to talk about food. Don can't
yeah.
keep his story straight. Candace walks out of interviews while they're trying to determine what the hell happened to your child.
Mm,
Uh, you're on YouTube panhandling. Um, y'all are known fucking drug heads.
mm,
I don't, none of this, none of this at all makes the stranger abduction theory uh,
no, I don't buy
doesn't
that.
make
I'm never
sense.
gonna buy that. They've already showed, basically showed their ass too many times. I don't buy that there was ever any stranger abduction. Um, so yeah, not at all.
I, the fact that they've changed and like there's so many theories, right? There's the
Mm,
she wandered off theory, an animal attack. I feel like
uh,
probably whatever's living in that fucking house got her.
right?
She
I
died in the
don't
car on the
I
way
don't
back.
I feel like with all the search teams and whatnot, if an animal would have gotten her, you would have found an article of clothing or something indicating,
Blood,
death
article of
by
clothing, drag
right,
mark.
something would have occurred. A stranger, the theory doesn't work for me at all. I mean, it just doesn't make sense how somebody could get on that property, and you wouldn't hear it. I mean, you look at the
Dogs weren't
aerial.
barking. You had to drive down this secluded.
Like,
Yeah,
right, and, you can imagine in a location like that, it's very quiet. You're gonna hear the
exactly.
engine of a
You're gonna hear
vehicle
the
coming.
rocks moving under
Uh-huh,
tires.
rocks, gravel, the
I have
engine
a
of
gravel driveway. Like, you're gonna hear
mhm,
that.
mhm.
Wandered off. I don't buy that either. There was nowhere for her to wander off. Um, and
No.
then, but the theory, like the parents, like da 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 da, she would have never wandered off. Maybe she wandered off. What? Which one is it, guys? She wouldn't, or she would. She wouldn't, or she would.
Yeah, they're
Um,
definitely covering their tracks. They don't know which way to go on this one.
then she died. There's the theory that she possibly died in the car on the way back home from this 15 minutes at the swimming hole because we all go to the creek for 15 minutes.
I,
Um,
wondered about that. There's a good distinct possibility. Um, and again, one of the fans asked earlier about like why was she crying? It's a possibility that, it's guilt. But we have somebody that they have an idea here on the screen. He wants to Bigfoot snatched her.
that's going to be their, that's Don Wells' next story. Good. You just gave him
Yeah,
another story.
right.
Um, I've gone off of the, I've gone into the whole, what if, she talks about this piece of candy that Summer got from grandma. One piece of candy all fucking day. You ain't fed this child one piece of candy.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, in all the detail of that story, the timeline, it never
where's the
discussed food.
food?
I kind of there's two theories in my mind. Either Don Wells is completely involved. No matter which way you spin it, he's involved because he's most likely covering it up. But if you go towards the swimming hole type of situation, we always say it's so strange, 15 minutes, why would they do that? Well, you go 15 minutes and somebody drowns and you're scared, you get the hell out of there.
I've thought of that.
And her picture on the milk cartons, if we remember that one,
That's still
possibly
to
because
me. It's
she
just
is dead and they're trying to keep the body fresh. I mean, I don't know. It looks very uncomfortable. Let me see. I'm gonna pull that picture up real quick. Come on.
you know
I'm not
abduction.
sure. I mean, do know kids can sleep pretty much anywhere, but um,
Well, and
there's
then
that
like
theory.
I thought about okay. I don't obviously it's not. We know you can mark out the random abduction, right?
Right.
Um, Grandma's been real quiet.
Oh
Abduction
yeah,
by family
absolutely.
member
It's a
is
good
accidental.
point.
I've thought that too,
Yep.
but I
Accidental death at the swimming hole or something, and they're covering it up, or possibly over discipline, which was where I went in the
I
very beginning.
in the beginning, when I first read it, I'm not gonna lie, I think that something happened to that candy statement makes me think that she got into the stash, the family stash of rocks, and she OD'd.
Hmm.
But instead of calling an ambulance or taking her to a facility for care, they knew that Don Wells would be exposed for doing things to his child.
Or
And
also just drugs. I mean, your kid gets into your stash and dies, you're going to freaking prison. So it's like they didn't want to get caught either way. So yeah.
also, abduction by family member is another theory that I rabbit hole I went down. They are
Hmm.
members of the Seventh Day Adventist Church, which is some fucking nut jobs.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
They're
they're all crazy.
that's a cult from cults.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
Grandma is a hardcore member of this. Grandma could have easily taken her and given her to somebody at the church.
Here's our donation
Just
for the
saying.
week.
Pretty much, I'm gonna put her in
Yeah.
the. That's my, that's my ties
There
to the
was
church.
someone in the last show that commented about how the church
Those people
They
are
do
so
that. They
fucked
take
up.
kids or whatever. So I don't it's a possibility.
Well, the only
Um,
reason I say that is because grandma already has another kid missing.
mm, very true. Grandma might be the one that did this. Hell, maybe she sold her to the church for some
And
favor or something.
what here's the bombshell of the show. And I've been sitting on this one and I couldn't wait till we got to the theory part.
Oh, here we
Here's a
go.
bombshell for you. Grandma's brother, Warren, has been incarcerated for charges including 8 counts of incest with a minor and kidnapping and pretty much peddling CP and other things with
So
children.
what you're saying is there's this blood runs on both sides of the family, not just Don Wells' side, but Candace's as
Uh-huh.
well.
And grandma made a quick fucking exit out of town within like before 2 weeks. She had already left the state and had gone to another state to supposedly stay with someone else while this was going on. Because my
Mhm.
grandchild's missing and I'm gonna go all the way across the country damn near. Yeah.
Something really wrong with that.
Sounds
Mhm.
yeah, that's and you know what? Don has been on too many interviews. This family has. I know that was kind of like I've been waiting to drop that bombshell. But
Hmm.
Don talks about in some of his interviews how his biological mom and father, they divorced and he had this horrible upbringing, but then the stepsisters are like, no, but he liked to diddle us.
Oh God, yeah, crazy.
Girl, there's so much. They've actually had zero contact or have tried zero ways to get their boys back, which, by the
Oh
way,
yeah,
are in the state of
they're
Tennessee. They have not even hinted at trying to get the boys back. The
mm,
boys were actually removed within a week of Summer going missing, but they went on the run with them. That's what took them almost 2 weeks to get them. They
mm,
like Don started taking them to work with him, uh, leaving the state with him. Which, by the way, he has a PO that says he can't do that, but he did anyways.
right. He
He
didn't
lied
care.
about working in Arkansas. He did not have a job in Arkansas. He was not working. They were holed up at some crack motel. Um,
Mm,
I, I just can't.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
this
I
man has
mean,
been on, and here's the thing: if you watch any interviews with him, he's always either drunk or high. I don't know, or
oh
both.
yeah, yeah. He's in constant intoxication, like constantly intoxicated. Something. Everything I see on him. Yeah. I don't
But
know. I
I found some
guess.
interviews that were weird to me in the background of like, okay, I found one and I couldn't even watch it because, like, in the beginning of it, he's in the bathroom peeing. And like the interviewer's like, yeah, we're just gonna
So, yeah.
like,
Oops.
what the hell? Like, who we're talking about your
Nasty.
missing kid, and you're standing here with your dick in your hand taking a piss. Classy folks, I tell you.
They're animals in a sense, your dog has to go and it just goes wherever it goes. I mean, these guys
No,
are
because
animals.
most
Well,
animals
you
take
saw
care of
they
their
lived,
kids.
so.
Well, most animals take care of their kids too.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
but in the
good land.
interviews that you can hear, like Don is fucked up as an 8-day clock, right? But Candace is in the background of like every one of these almost fucking screaming, crying, throwing shit.
Well, if you guys viewers want to go check out the Dr. Phil with her, she was doing that over there too. Like
Yeah.
just being all psychotic. Like, um, I'm sorry, I have to look at that again. I can't get over how he's like, "Oh, it's okay, babe." I'm like, "Really?" You know that
Oh,
they
and
did
then
yeah,
so
no.
and then God bless. They decided to pull like this hoax on the stepsister, Dawn's stepsister Mary. Not Jeannie, but Mary. He had Candace call her one evening and like be in like a state of extreme duress and saying that Donnie was being arrested by the FBI. They were beating the shit out of him in the front yard, claiming he was being tortured by the Mexican mafia. They were going to kill him. I
What?
still don't know what
Yeah.
they tried to accomplish with that, but
Mm.
your kid's missing and we're pulling pranks about the mafia? What?
I know. I don't get it. Like, yeah, why again, animals, like there's no remorse, no empathy, no thought. Oh my God. I mean, every day that my child was gone, I'd be hysterical.
I
I
would lose
mean,
my
I'd have
mind.
huh?
I would lose my mind.
I'd be in tears every day. I'd be out looking every day. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't sleep. I would be searching for my child.
And
Um,
he's God, there was one uh I'm trying to remember
all right, we got a
like I
comment.
found.
So he doesn't have to deal with the guilt of what they have done to his this precious baby. Maybe
I
in
don't think
reference
he
to
feels
being
guilt.
high or drunk all the time.
I don't think they feel guilt. But he did
No,
an
maybe not.
interview, I believe it was on Molly Go Lightly. I have it written down, I just don't remember.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I've seen her.
and he claims this is his words. I quoted them. Don claims to have 7 alibis, if not more, including my buddy Starlink. Then he goes on to say, Candace
What?
ain't got none. She's going down.
Wait, how do you have 7 alibis? Like,
But then, though, they're on a live stream on Molly Go Lightly,
mm,
right? They're on a fucking live stream. He
mm.
says, I have 7 alibis, including my friend Starlink. Candace ain't got none. She's going down. They start fighting on the fucking live
Oh my
stream.
God.
She's throwing and humming shit at him. They're cussing each other.
Oh my God. Yeah, no.
How do you have
That's why this video or this picture cracks me up because all of a sudden he's comforting her. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But he's like, she's
Okay.
going down. I got 7 fucking alibis. That's not a good thing to say about yourself, buddy. One alibi, a true story.
Yeah, right,
That's what
right.
she
Yeah.
did.
Why do you
He
have
has
seven?
7.
Yeah,
He has
seven
7.
alibis.
And Candace is going down. Those are his words on a fucking live stream while his wife is sitting right there. And then they get
Mm.
into a drunk fight on the live stream. And like, I'm not kidding, the interview, that like Molly Golightly is just like, what the fuck is happening right
Why she's
now?
like, what? Yeah, I think that tells you everything you need to know. I mean, even if you were divorced from your child's father, you would probably most likely come together in moments like this, and you probably wouldn't be screaming at each other or anything. I mean, unless there's guilt surrounding it or something. But that to me is an admission of guilt. I have 7 alibis. She doesn't. So one of us is going down. I think it's her. I think it's going to be her. So
Like,
that's what
I feel
he's
like
in his mindset.
maybe that was probably not the appropriate thing that I wouldn't have said that.
No, no, not at all. But
Yeah, that's something that I would have led with. All right. But like the
mm,
fact that they got in such a like altercation on this live stream and
that's
like
hilarious.
I
I'll wait
honestly
to
like
find
this
that.
this case is not funny,
But their
but that
behavior
was
is their
their
behavior is funny
behavior is just insane to me.
and pretty
And
funny. Hmm.
it is. And like I honestly believe with both sides of this family being as fucked up as they are and just trash bags, this is a dumpster fire of dumpster fires. Okay.
Agreed.
And the magical disappearance of their phone records and their data after 3 o'clock. Like the lies and the stories that they've come out with are just
Insane.
insane
Yeah.
to me. But I do want to close this out with saying, like, now that we have, whew, that's a rabbit hole of rabbit holes. Let me tell you, we have, people don't
Mm.
know, and can tell
The
you,
amount of
y'all,
work.
I've, like, we have literally spent so much of our time, like, diving down with this shit and just, it's been,
Hours and hours. It's
yeah,
like all we listen to. It's all we read about. It's every day. It's constant.
and
Um,
there's no, it just doesn't, there are no answers. And I
mm-mm.
think that's what makes me mad is
Mm.
not not having an answer, not being able to say what actually happened to this little girl or
I
how it
agree.
happened. And no, this family doesn't give a fuck.
No, they don't. I think though, before we leave, we should have the parade of Donwell's mugshot
Mugshots. And I would like to put
mugshot
up
parade.
the information for TBI as well.
Okay,
If you
there's
have any
one.
information, oh, yep, there's one. And
Do I have TBI's information? Let me see. I think I do. Well, maybe not TBI, but let's see. There we go. Here's another one. A little longer hair there.
there are hundreds of mugshots when I tell
I
you.
just grabbed a few because God
Oh,
forbid nobody really.
that's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
that's
That's one of my favorites.
that's a good one. Yeah. Let me see here. I think this. I'm not sure if this is FBI or TBI here, but oh, it's TBI. So yeah,
There is her
there
missing
you go.
poster. If you do have any information, you can contact the Hawking County Sheriff's Department at 423-272-7121 or 1-800 TBI find. At the end of the day, through all of this, her family may be shitty, but this is still an open case. This is still an Amber Alert. This is a 5-year-old little girl that did go missing. And if nothing more, she deserves justice and answers. And if you have any information, anything small, it doesn't matter how insignificant that you believe it is, this little girl deserves every effort for justice.
Agreed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you right now, this one has been rough. And on the next episode, we're going to talk about Candace and Grandis and their grandiose fucking bloodline.
Mm.
But next week, if you would like to join us for another round here at Cocktails and Crimes, we'll be back Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time with part 3 for Summer Wells. And if you get a chance, please go over and show my wonderful friend here at Unexplained Realms and Lost Common Sense. Show her
Yay.
some
Go check us
love,
out.
her and Eddie. I
Mhm.
feel like we could talk about Don
Oh
Wells
yeah.
Lost Common Sense.
Oh God. You know what? That might be a thing. You want to come back on?
Let's do
We
it.
should. We should do it. Yeah. But for now, let's
But for
take it
now,
away.
we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.